Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the last installment of Junie B. Jones' Cheater Pants. We're going to finish today with chapters 7, 8, and 9, and we'll find out what happens when Junie B. and her three friends create their Sin Cane poem. Remember in the last chapter, Mr. Scary had asked them to write a poem that has 5 lines in it. And in this section, we're going to get to hear what they wrote. Here's my little feline version of Junie B. Jones. That's Leo. Maybe he'll jump up on my lap while I'm reading. We'll see. All right, chapter 7 is called Pallies. We worked on our poems for the whole entire morning almost. And Mr. Scary was right. Sharing ideas did help spark our imaginations. Plus, all of us got to add our own special words to our poem. That is called good teamwork. After we got done, I printed our poem on a clean piece of paper. Lenny and Jose and Herb watched me real careful. I am an excellent printer, I told them. I can print with the best of them. Pretty soon, all of the other children in room 1 finished their poems too. And good news, Mr. Scary said there was time to read some of our poems to the class. Lucille didn't wait to get called on. She ran to the front of the room and she made squinty eyes at Camille and Chenille. I wanted to write my poem with 2 girls in my group, she said, but all they wanted to write about was twins, twins, twins. She looked at them some more. The whole world is not just about you 2, you know, she grouched. After that, she fluffed her lacy dress and she read her poem. Me, Richie Lucille, shopping, buying, spending. Everyone's jealous of myself. Princess. After she was finished, Mr. Scary sat there for a second, and then he smiled and nodded. Good, Lucille. Yes, excellent, he said. That poem really says it all, doesn't it? Lucille nodded. Yes, she said, it does. And then she did another mean look at the twins, and she sat back down. Don't you think Lucille's poem made it all about her? And she was mad at Lucille or Chenille and Chenille, who wanted to write about twins. That's called irony. That's a grown-up word that means what you're blaming someone else for, you really are it yourself. Maybe is it irony, or is it, what's that right word? It's a grown-up word, hypocritical. Like what you blame other people for, you really do yourself. That's Lucille all over. After that, May didn't wait to be called on either. She ran to the front of the room just like Lucille, and she hollered her poem real loud. Tin can, tin can, tin can. I have perfect hearing, and Mr. Scary told me it was tin can. He did, he really did. Mr. Scary rubbed his chin. Yes, well, that certainly was an interesting poem idea, May, but it didn't really follow the rules of Sin Cane, did it? He said. You mean tin can, said May. Mr. Scary did a sigh, and then he got up from his desk. Then he walked May back to her seat. After that, there was time for one more poem. My group waved our hands all around in the air. We have a good one, hollered Jose. Yes, a really good one, yelled Lenny. Mr. Scary nodded at us. And so all of us jumped up and we stood in our group and we read our poem with all of our voices. I'm going to show you the picture. The poem is right here. If you hit pause, you might be able to read it, maybe stretch it. If you can't see it, I'll put it right up here. There we go. It says, Pallies, chummy, happy, joking, gelling, sharing, 4 amigos all together. Friendship. That's a great Sin Cane. I love that one. When I read this book the first time and I read that Sin Cane, I thought, oh, if I were a first grade teacher, they would get an A+. And guess what chapter 8 is called? A+ us. A+. We got an A+ on our poem. Mr. Scary came right back to our desk and he took his red pencil and wrote A+ on the top of our paper. It was a wonderful poem you guys wrote, he said. I loved that. We jumped and clapped for ourselves. It was the funnest morning I ever saw. And that is not all, because lunch and recess kept on being fun too. On account of when four friends are in happy moods together, life is a joy, I tell you. After recess, I hurried back to room 1 because I couldn't wait to see what happy assignment we would do next. I skipped into the room and I looked at the board and then, boom, I came to a screechy stop. On account of on the board had 2 terrible words on it. It said, spelling test. And I forgot all about that stupid thing. That dumb test was supposed to be last Friday, and then it got put off till today. And so how was I even supposed to remember that last night? Because I was worried about my note, of course. My legs felt weakish and limpish. Very slow, I dragged my feet back to my seat. The desks were back to normal again. Herb was already sitting down, and he turned around and looked at me. "What's wrong, Junie B?" he asked. "Don't you feel good?" I laid my head on my desk. "I forgot to study my spelling words last night," I said, "and now I'm going to be in trouble with Mother and Daddy again." I did a whine. "This is the whole dumb problem with school," I said. "1 minute you're all joyful and happy, and the next minute the joy gets flushed right out of you." Herb tried to make me feel better. "Don't worry, most of the words are easy this week," he said. He paused for a second. Sort of." I did another whine, because sort of does not mean really. In the front of the room, Mr. Scary was passing out paper. "Is everybody ready for our spelling test this week?" he said. He winked. "Since you had 4 extra nights to study, I'm sure everyone will get a perfect grade, right?" My stomach turned into a knot ball at that comment. And pretty soon the test began. Mr. Scary pronounced the first spelling word, and he used it in a sentence. "Fox," he said. "The fox is running through the woods." Fox. I perked up a little bit because I know how to spell fox, of course. I printed it very neat on my paper. F-O-X. "The next word is box," said Mr. Scary. "I keep all my toys in a box." Box. I sat up even perkier, 'cause box is just as easy as fox. B-O-X. Mr. Scary smiled. "The next word is wood," he said. "I would like all of you to do well on this test." Wood. Just then, I stopped perking, because sometimes I get mixed up on that one. I wrote down some letters, W-O-O-D, and then I crossed them out. On account of that was the wrong kind of wood, I believe. I tried again. Do you know what the kind of wood she was spelling? W-O-O-D? That's the kind of wood like if you have to chop wood to make wood for a fireplace. She tried to spell the word wood again, W-O-U-D. I shook my head because that didn't look right either. Finally, I covered my face and I did a groan. "Shh," said May. Herb started to turn around to see what was the matter, and then he quick stopped himself, because no turning around during a test, of course. "Excuse me, I would like to interrupt our story time for a moment. Just one moment, please. Please get down. Please get down. Please get down, Leo. Excuse me, just one moment. Please get down. I would like you to get down." Oh, well, he would like me to hold him, so that's what I'm going to do. I looked at what I wrote some more, and then I strained my brain to try and remember how to spell it. Only nothing came to me. Finally, I did another groan, and that's when a miracle happened. My friend Herbert came to my rescue. First, he shifted a teensy bit in his chair, and then he moved his test paper to where I could see it, and he pointed to the word with his finger. My mouth came open at that lovely gesture, because I didn't even ask him to do that. Herb just gave the word to me. Look, and he's going like this. That's kind of like he's trying to be like, "Oh, I'm not doing anything. I'm not really cheating." You think that's cheating? I think that's cheating. It was like a gift. I stretched my neck to see it better. And yay, as soon as I saw the word, my imagination got sparked and I remembered the letter L perfectly good. I wrote it down on my paper. W-O-U-L-D. It was just in time. Mr. Scary was already on the next word. Peek, he said. I saw you peek. Peek. Just then I sat in my seat very still and I did a gulp. Because I really thought he saw me peek, that's why. Only good news, I was wrong. On account of he didn't see me peek, he didn't, and besides, what I did this time wasn't even bad, probably because Herb shared that word with me, just like we shared words for our poem. Finally, I did a little sigh, and I wrote peek on my paper. After that, I took the rest of the spelling test, very perfect, and I put what happened right out of my brain. Sort of. Chapter 9 is called Sleeping on It. Can you tell he's like Junie B. Jones? Come here, Leo. Excuse me. He's sniffing around at books that I'm going to be reading at another story time. Come here, little boy. Can you believe how big he is? He's a big boy. Let's see if he'll sit here quietly while I'm finishing this book. Chapter 9 is called Sleeping on It. That night, me and Philip Johnny Bob didn't sleep that good. We tossed and turned a real lot. Also, Philip Johnny Bob talked in his sleep a little bit because I heard him say the word cheater pants. I woke him up when I heard that, and then both of us got a drink of water, and we talked about what was the trouble. The next morning, our eyes were poopish and droopy. And guess what? We were not the only ones that looked like that either, because when my friend Herb got on the bus, his eyes were poopish and droopy too. He plopped down next to me and he did a big yawn. And there's Junie B and Herbert looking poopy and droopy. I wonder why Herb looks poopy and droopy. Think he didn't sleep well? That's what he says. He says, he did a big yawn. I didn't sleep good last night, he said, real tired. I nodded. Me too, Herb. I didn't sleep good too, I said. Herb sat there a minute, and then he did a sigh. Yeah, only I don't even want to tell you why I didn't sleep, he said. Or maybe you might get mad at me. I raised my eyebrows at him. Oh? Herb squirmed in his seat, kind of uncomfortable, and then he quieted his voice. It's kind of about the spelling test, he whispered. I thought about that. Oh, I said. Oh, yeah, I guess I didn't thank you for helping me, did I? I patted his arm. Thank you, Herb. Because of you, I will always remember how to spell the word wood. Herb's shoulders slumped way down. Well, yeah, see, that's a problem, Junie B, he said. That's why I didn't sleep last night. Because I'm sorry, but I don't feel good about helping you. He squirmed some more. I mean, at the time I thought it would be nice, but as soon as I showed you my test, it didn't feel nice at all. Instead, it felt like, it felt like I quick sat up and interrupted him. A cheater pants, I said. It felt like you were a cheater pants, right, Herb? Right? That's how come you couldn't sleep last night, correct? Because at first you thought it would be nice to share with me, only as soon as you didn't, it felt kind of wrong inside. Herb looked surprised at me. Yeah, I did, but how did you even know that? Because, Herb, because I said, have you forgotten who you are talking to here? I am a cheater pants myself, remember? So I know exactly what it feels like. I shook my head. I can't believe it, Herb. I can't believe I did it 2 days in a row, I said. Because on Monday I copied May's homework, and yesterday I copied your spelling word. Only at first I tried to pretend that you and me were just sharing. Herb nodded, kind of sad. Yeah, but we weren't, were we? He said. No, I said back. We really weren't, Herbert. On account of sharing on a spelling test is called cheating. Herbert did a wince at that word. I patted him. I know just how you feel, Pally, he said. The word cheater makes you feel like a nasty, rotten, ratty pants who can't even be trusted. Herb nodded. And then he smiled a little bit. You have a nice way with words, he said. I did a shrug. Actually, Philip Johnny Bob came up with that one. After that, me and Herb rode the rest of the way to school without talking. We both felt better, I think. We told on ourselves at recess, me and Herbert, both of us, together. We went to room 1 after lunch, and we told Mr. Scary that we cheated on the spelling test. Herb explained how he heard me being upset during the test, and he didn't want me to get in trouble with Mother and Daddy again, so he showed me his answer so that I would do good. And then I explained about how it was a lovely gesture by Herbert, but after we did it, we both knew it was wrong, and so we will never ever do that again, and we mean it. Mr. Scary listened to us real careful, and then he thanked us for our honesty, and he said he admired us very much for telling him what we did. After that, he got out our test papers, and he wrote big zeros at the top of them, on account of even if you get admired, you still get a 0, apparently. Well, you know why Mr. Scary did that? Because, if you cheat on a test, you shouldn't get credit for that grade that you got, right? Neither one of them. Well, that night, I was eating dinner, and Mr. Scary called my house, and he tattletaled to Mother right on the phone. At first, Mother frowned a real lot, and then me and her and Daddy talked about cheating all over again, and I got yelled at a little bit. But later, when they tucked me into bed, they said they were proud of me and Herb for telling on ourselves, and all of us ended up hugging. Yeah, I think Junie B and Herb's conscience got the better of them. You know what a conscience is? Did you ever watch, is it Pinocchio? There's Jiminy Cricket, that little cricket that sits on your shoulder, and he always says, let your conscience be your guide. That's like your inner voice that tells you what's right and what's wrong. And both Herb and Junie B knew. But what I like most about it is that they not only knew that it was wrong, but they told on themselves. They actually, what's the right word? They confessed what they did. And I think that helps them feel better too, even though she did get into a little trouble. But I love how the book ends. Listen to this. That night, Philip, Johnny, Bob, and I slept very perfect. Only here is the happiest news of all. When me and Herb got to school the next day, Mr. Scary called us up to his desk, and he gave each of us a special poem that he wrote all by himself. I tried to read mine, but I didn't know all the words. So Mr. Scary read it to me, and after he finished, I smiled real proud. And then I read it one more time, just to myself. And it says, Junie B, bubbly, bouncy, learning, growing, glowing. Your honesty is awesome. Trusted. Isn't that neat? I used to tell my first graders that if they ever lied to me, that it would be very hard to learn how to trust them again. If someone hits you, if you're fighting with someone and they hit you, your bruises can heal and they can apologize and you can be done with it. And hopefully they won't hit you again. But when someone tells a lie or cheats, it's hard to know that they won't ever do it again, because that's a behavior that involves trust. So I love that Mr. Scary took time to write a beautiful sin cane for Junie B, to let her know that she's learning, that she's growing, that she's glowing, and that she's trusted. So I hope you all enjoyed this wonderful book, Junie B. Jones' Cheater Pants. It's always great to share a great book with you. Have a wonderful day, everybody.